What have I been feeling for the last 4 weeks? Well, I'm really glad you asked. I have been angry. I mean livid. So much so that I will hear something. It's like this internal hearing something. I'm like, what am I hearing? And I'm like, oh, I am boiling on the inside. I grew up in a religious culture where it was not acceptable to be angry. Or if you were angry, you would forgive and quickly move on. It didn't matter if the situation was taken care of or not, or if the person was really repentant and turned from what they were doing. That didn't matter. You just needed to get over it as quickly as possible because that was the right Christian loving thing to do. I can't do that. And so today I'm going to tell you why. Now, I've shared in the last 3 videos this journey of lament, like learning how to lament, that I'm on in this particular season. We're saying that lament is sorrow, anguish, anger, distress, expressed or communicated to God. And I've been reading this, thanks Jordan. This book gives roughly, 4 categories, but I'm just sticking with 3 categories. For what I see in Psalms and Lamentations, how lament is expressed. Now, what I want to say is that I know I am really undercomplicating this idea of lament by putting it in these 3 categories only, because it is more complex. I'm also going to list down in the description my really good friend Charlene. I love friends who love to learn right along with me, and so she sent me this dissertation on lamenting, specifically in the New Testament. It's actually excellent, and it's not too pie-in-the-sky academic talk either, which I really appreciate. Okay, I've got props. If you look at lament in the Bible, there's 3 categories. We have complaints, we have requests, and then we have trust. Lamenting is not just one of these components. We're not going to cling to trust and request and throw over our shoulder complaints. We're also not just going to keep complaints and toss over our shoulder the trust and the request. Biblical lamenting is holding and experiencing all 3 together. What I'm learning the most about this process is how hard, it's literally hard trying to juggle these balloons, but it is also hard trying to figure out how to hold all 3 of these somewhat, definitely contradicting things happening all at once. These complaints that are questions, anger, that roiling anger, that complaint to God, the request, God, would you do something? Would you bring justice about? This is not right. It's not right. And this trust to say, God, you are in control of all things. And it's definitely complex. It's complicated to do all of this and hold them together at the same time. Okay, complaints is losing air, but just hang on. We're gonna blow it right back up. How I view the learning process is I am fully exploring each one of these and fully exploring how do I hold them all together. It's a learning process. And what I have to tell my perfectionist self is, Melissa, this is a learning process and you are not going to get it all right. So when you mess up, that's a part of the process. Learning is moving from ignorance to understanding. That means I'm going to be ignorant and do something wrong to therefore get to some sort of understanding. And so I really have to tell myself that because it's been hard. And my complaints, balloon has been much larger than this. Actually, this has kind of been the problem. Lamenting is this expression to God. And where I'm going wrong is not my anger. I don't believe that's what's wrong, because I think there are reasons, wholly justified reasons, to be angry. But what I have been doing is venting more of my complaints and anger toward people than to God. Now, I'm not saying that I should not be venting complaints or expressing this anger to other humans. I do believe that is a part of this process, but it's when it gets unbalanced where I am complaining more to people than I am lamenting, which is not just complaining, but it's complaining, requesting, trusting to God. I have noticed this unbalance. And when it gets unbalanced, here's what happens. This makes me nervous. Yeah, that's about right. That's about what it felt like. So what I'm practicing, and I do mean practicing, it is like a little kid sitting down to practice the piano. I am sitting down to try to practice holding all three of these together and expressing to God each one of these categories, either through writing, which is most of the time, or just verbally expressing it to him. And the practice is also being silent when I need to be silent when it comes to other humans, whether that is my friends or my family, and also with people that I very much disagree with how a situation is being handled. It is knowing when to speak and when to be silent. I'm not good at that. So I'm practicing and making sure there is more of this lamenting with God than there is expression and communication toward other humans. Here's why I think that is important. Because true biblical lament keeps us in check and in balance. It doesn't simply have us just trusting and pretending as if these don't exist, but it also doesn't allow us just to do these two of complaining and requesting and being like, well, I guess, God, you're gonna have to prove it to me. It's nope. It's all three happening together. And what this brings is a balance where there's authenticity and a building of trust in God. So that's number one, it keeps me balanced. Number two, as I'm doing this process, this may just be how I'm internally wired. And I'm asking myself, what will still be true in 10,000 years? As I'm looking at my lament, it does not mean that these two things don't matter, because I think they deeply matter. They matter to me, and I believe they matter to God. But will they exist in 10,000 years? This complaint that I have of what I see as an injustice happening to a victim, will it still be true in 10,000 years? Oh no, he will have made it right. These requests for justice, for truth, will they still be requests in 10,000 years? No, they won't be. He, who he is, will have made all things right. He will wipe away every one of my tears and your tears. There will not be this broken earth where there's sin dumped on us and we do the dumping of sin on ourselves and other people. It will be no more. We will be bathed in his beauty and splendor. Like, I always just think about the sun, like on a really warm day in the summer. And you know how you can feel the rays of the sun on your skin? Scripture tells us that he will be our sun. Like, the rays of warmth that we will feel will be his presence. It will be him, and it will be perfection. That's what will be true. So of the three things that I'm holding, even though I'm learning how to hold all three, there's also tucked in my head that this is what will last. That does not mean I dispose of these two, but I just get to ponder who he is, his character, what he's done in the past, what he will do in the future, to ponder it and to revel in it. And as I have been doing that, there is something that is affected, especially here with my anger. My anger has not gone away, but it's like there is a new perspective as I do this. It's been hard, so hard to feel all of this, but so good when I round the bend and I learn. And what I'm learning from is from doing the thing wrong and then getting to back up again and say, okay, God, that wasn't it. I could kind of even feel it in my body. Like, all of that explosion was not where I was supposed to be headed. So now, God, what do I do? And getting to back up with him, get back to doing this lamenting more to him than other humans, has set a rightness about it. There is nothing better than learning with God and learning with you and learning with my other friends. It is my favorite thing in the whole world. And I think we'll get to spend an eternity doing it. If God is infinite, He has no beginning, He has no end. That means even though I'll be eternal, I will not be infinite. I do have a beginning, which means I get to spend an eternity getting to know this infinite, glorious God. And that's learning. And I can't wait. And I feel so happy to do this with you here on this channel. And you know, this year, it's killing me. It's killing me. But I'm here every single Sunday, 2 p.m. to be with you. If you're new here and you haven't seen any of the lamenting videos, here they are. You can just click right on the screen to check them out. I will see you next week. Bye, friends.